right here, would you look at this? The Alfawise micro SD card. Now you might be saying, Harrison, I have lots of micro SD cards. What's exciting about this? Well, you can see here, 32 gigabytes, UHS-1. If we look on the back, UHS-1, 32 gigabytes, and all for something like $3, maybe $4 at a stretch, but absolutely dirt cheap for a 32 gigabyte UHS-1 SD card. And not to mention, look at that. That is the most beautiful picture I think I've ever seen. And on an SD card nonetheless. So if anything, even if this turns out to be crap, which for $3, I will be extremely shocked if it's not. At the very least, we have this cool little picture. So Alfawise, at the very least, has got that down. So let's check out this SD card, open it up and see if this cat is any indication of how great this SD card is, or whether that's the best part. And there you go. The Alfawise 32 gigabyte SD card. Obviously, it's exactly the same dimensions as this SanDisk one, otherwise I wouldn't be able to fit into anything. It's not that exciting, it looks cool, but I think the real test will be when we plug it into my computer. Maybe we'll do some speed tests and see whether this lives up to its claim of 80 megabytes per second. I think I saw 80 megabytes per second reads. Will this little SD card live up to that, or for $3, is it a pile of crap? Let's check it out. Alright, there you go. So I've just plugged the SD card into the little micro SD slot on this USB-C adapter for my MacBook Air. And so what I've got this software called Amphorus Disk Mark. And so what we can do, select the SD card, and it's actually going to cycle through it, test out the speeds, and show us whether this can actually live up to its claims of 80 megabytes per second reads. And I'll compare it to one of my other SanDisk UHS-1 cards and see how the two stack up. So I've just got this set to 100 megabytes up the top, and then just one pass. So I'm gonna start, go through all the tests and come back in a few minutes when they're done. Alright, so the SD card, the Alfawise SD cards, had a chance to run through its results, and wow, these are actually some pretty decent results. These read and write, sequential read and write speeds are actually very similar to what I was getting on my SanDisk UHS-1 cards. I've already run some tests on those, and those two results at the top are extremely similar, which is pretty incredible. The other three results aren't quite as high, but they're still, you know, up there in terms of speed and in terms of writing to the card, which is some pretty impressive stuff, considering that this SD card here, the Alfawise one, it was about $3 and those SanDisk ones were about $30. So results like this are very promising for this SD card, but these results don't mean everything. What some manufacturers can actually do is they'll just load up like a 2 gig SD card, say, and then they'll just reflash it as a 32 gig card, which is what this is listed as. So what I've got here, I've got a external SSD that I hold all my video footage on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy 32 gigabytes worth of footage to this SD card just to make sure that it can actually fill up with the full amount that it's rated for. So let's plug this in and get going. Right, so I've just started copying over a folder. It's actually only 20.1 gigabytes, but I think that's still enough to just see how much it can handle, whether it's maybe it's a reflash 2 gig SD card or something, or whether we've got the full 32 gigs available. Obviously 20 gigs isn't going to take it up, but it'll be more than 16 gigs, and if it's above 16 gigs, then it's going to be the 32 that we're after. So we've just got to wait to see it all copy over, and then we'll just have to check whether everything is actually present on the SD card. Alrighty, so that file has just finished copying over. You can see it's just here. What I'm going to do is go back to the drive. I'm going to just check its information, and you can see it's reporting that it's actually used up 20 gigabytes of its disk, which is always good. If we go in, we can see everything does look to be here. I'll actually open up, it's a video project, so if I open it up and there's stuff missing, Premiere should tell me that there's can't find some files. So let's open it up and just check that that's all working. So it's loading up, and it looks like it's actually found every single file. That is pretty crazy. This $3 SD card, it hasn't ripped us off on capacity, plus it's actually performing at some pretty decent speeds. That is pretty unbelievable. This SD card cost me $3. $3. 32 gigabytes. We've speed tested it and it's getting some pretty decent speeds, and it hasn't ripped us off. It's the full 32 gigabytes by the looks of it. I am impressed. This has got to be one of the best value SD cards you could just about buy. Now, I still don't know if I trust it with all my video footage. But for something like this is the SQ11 mini DV camera. It cost me like $3 or $4. It takes an SD card as well. And for something like this where, you know, obviously you don't want to be losing footage, but if this SD card somehow failed inside here, would I be that sad? No. So for something like this, for $3 or $4 to pair up with such a cheap camera, this is just about the perfect combination. If you've got some other sort of cheap camera, even a GoPro even, this could be an absolute bargain for you for an SD card that performs as well as this one does. Now, it's not going to be as good as those SanDisk ones, but at $3, you can get 10 of these for the cost of one of those SanDisk ones. That is pretty unbelievable, not to mention that incredible, incredible picture. I'd pay double just for that picture. So credits where credit is due to Alfawise. I came into this video thinking that this would be garbage that we got totally ripped off, and by the looks of it, I could be wrong, but by the looks of it, the test we've done, it seems pretty decent. So I'll have a link to it in the video description if you want to check it out, but really, this is pretty impressive, I've got to say. Now, just to quickly fill you in on what's happening, this channel used to be called Let's Tear Down, but I decided that just looking at stuff like this, cheap tech from China, this little SD card being one of the first things I thought I could do. Even this little camera cost me $4 as well. Stuff like this, just looking at really cheap tech from China and seeing whether it's worth it like this SD card seems to be, or whether it's a piece of crap like some might say this camera is. Really, I think it's very exciting to see what sort of value you can get straight out of China. So I'm going to keep making videos like this. This channel is now called China Tech, not Let's Tear Down, because I just think that tech from China has got to be one of the most exciting, you know, things to be checking out. And you can find absolute bargains like this SD card. So once again, thanks for watching. You can check this SD card out in the video description. If you enjoyed though, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below. Comment down below what tech you want me to check out as well. I would love your suggestions on cheap, random tech that you found. This is a little camera that cost me $4. Obviously this SD card's super cheap as well. Comment down below and tell me all the crazy cheap tech you've seen straight out of China, and if I think it's a good suggestion, then I'll feature your tech and I'll even shout you out in my video. So that would be awesome. Definitely do that if you've got any suggestions, and while you're there, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Apart from that though, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.